Donald Trump loves disorder. He wants to spread disorder. When we look at Donnie boy, oh goodness, what a joy. When he shoves down our throat his disorder. When the Donald says he has the biggest bass, we hail, hail, right in the Donald's face. Not to love the Donald is a great disgrace, so we hail, hail, right in the Donald's face. Now, I would like that portion of this to go viral on YouTube or whatever any moment now, because I think America loves to sing, and I think Donnie Boy would really appreciate an anthem for King Donald. So, I'm going to do a reading. We were watching TV. Trump gave a news conference. Maybe some of you caught it. I have the latest breaking news from our president. There are only 12 and a half people who have coronavirus. Most of them are doing perfectly fine. There's no problem. It's basically a hoax. One woman has died, but she is expected to recover and will be home any moment now. However, and the news won't cover this, illegal Democrats are crossing the Mexican border to train radioactive gophers to attack Republican election sites. So anybody who wants to vote Republican, watch out for radioactive gophers trained by Democrats to destroy our democratic process. And now, and you have a flavor of my sense of humor, perhaps, I will read from the book. I'll give you some tasty morsels. I don't want to divulge any plot points because you got to buy the book for that. But I'll read from this is the epigraph. This is how the book starts. I actually quote a literary giant who I feel psychologically and philosophically aligned with. On some great and glorious day, the plain folk of the land will reach their heart's desire at last, and the White House will be adorned by a downright moron. That was written about 100 years ago by H.L. Mencken from the Baltimore Sun, who was renowned for his caustic remarks about politics. So now I'll start toward the beginning. Meet Donnie. His father had shortened the family name from Rumpelkarf to avoid embarrassment, but 9-year-old Donnie Rump seemed intent on causing the family a maximum amount anyway. When he wasn't skipping school, he was sent to the principal's office on a regular basis. In fact, his classmates coined a phrase for anyone sent to the principal, doing a Donnie. He wasn't the sharpest scholar even when he did show up to class. He proudly proclaimed, "I never finished the whole book from start to finish. I'm smart enough to read a little bit here, a little bit there, and know better what the book is about than all those losers who waste their time reading a whole book." How he ascended grade to grade was a mystery. Between his truancy and zilch work ethic, he should have been held back. What Donnie was excellent at was perfecting the temper tantrum. These often ignited while playing Monopoly. "I won!" "No, you didn't." "Yeah, I have more money." "You stole the money from the bank." "No, I didn't. You're lying." "We saw you take the extra money." "No, you didn't." "Yeah, we did. You're a cheater. You always cheat." "Yeah? Then why do you play with me?" "Because you pay us." This exchange continued for another 15 minutes, when Donnie would throw the board up in the air, sending pieces and dice flying. No problem for him. He knew the maid would clean it up. But it didn't end there. He kept screaming and fulminating for the next 2 days. "I'm the only one who knows how to play Monopoly. The others are just jealous because they're dumb and weak. They lie about me because I'm too smart for them. They can just fry ice." When his ranting got to be too much for his parents, they'd entice him with a crisp $100 bill, hooked to a long fishing pole, and lure him into a soundproof rubber room. He then would bounce off the rubber walls like a frantic pinball scoring points. He actually enjoyed this a lot. The other thing he really enjoyed, perhaps even more than bouncing off the walls, was his lovely cousin Tara. Tara had clear blue eyes, a winsome smile, and long honey blonde hair. Her hair especially entranced Donnie. He had something of a hairstyle fixation in general, and he would stare for hours at photos of Frankie Avalon, Bobby Rydell, Bobby Darin, wishing he could have lush, wavy hair like theirs. See, he had short, mossy clumps, kind of like a chia pet. He'd wear a lot of caps to hide his unattractive, clumpy dome. Tara and he would laugh and frolic, a couple of 9-year-olds. He would play with her luxurious hair, and she would tap his cap, yelling, "Is anybody home?" And yes, they would frequently play doctor, after which Donnie would present Tara with a bill for services rendered. Introducing Vladimir. Vladimir Putin was born into a family of KGB agents and apparatchiks during the early days of the Khrushchev regime. The family apartment was quite spacious by Soviet standards, denoting respect and accomplishment which the state held Papa Putin in. Vladimir was a short child. Perhaps he could uncharitably be called scrawny, which in fact his older brothers did. They often bullied him, throwing him into the Volga, saying, "Sink or swim!" He was a bright lad, and unlike Donnie, applied himself in school. But he was often scorned by his peers for his diminutive size. And also, unlike Donnie, his father was not rich. He couldn't afford to buy him friends, so he was often alone. In addition to studies, Vladimir delved into what was known in the 1950s as physical culture. He bought muscle magazines, did weight training exercises, pumping bulk bags of spelt, and performing the squat thrusts and jumping jacks as delineated in the Russian Army manual. He was also fascinated by photos of Johnny Weissmuller as Tarzan, much as Donnie was wrapped by hairstyles of Frankie Avalon and Bobby Rydell. He dreamed of having a rippling chest, bulging biceps, and well-defined deltoids. If he achieved this dominant look, his peers would think twice about demeaning him. He could retaliate in a powerful and decisive manner. Oh yes, he would make them pay who looked down on him. Donnie Rump, as I call him, meets Roy King Kong, who's based loosely on Roy Cohn. If you remember, Trump kept saying, "Where's my Roy Cohn? Where's the guy who's going to protect me?" So I imagined fictionally their first meeting. Donnie finished his formal schooling, God knows how, and decided to go into the family business, real estate. Was his father thrilled? Remember, he had the emotional stability of a belligerent 9-year-old with an added diagnosis of attention deficit disorder. This explained his low boredom threshold and his tendency to look into a pocket mirror every few minutes to check out his hair. He did have a personal appeal. With the latest tonsorial technology involving weaves, implants, and rumored serial injections of Himalayan yak blood, his hair did indeed look good. His father would send him to newly opened rump buildings for photo opportunities. He could turn out the charm of a brash 9-year-old, and city officials would enjoy him. But there's a problem when photographers would snap a picture. When he smiled, it looked like he was trying to evacuate a particularly obstructive bowel movement. "It looks like you're taking a dump," his father admonished. "No, it doesn't. I'm just being wry." "I don't need rye in front of my buildings." "What do you want me to do?" "Practice your smile. Let me approve it before the next photo. Until then, just stand there."